Hello, everyone. Nice to see you all. Thank you so much for coming to the MITACS session. My name is Mahtab Nazari. I'm a business development advisor at MITACS. I'm based in Vancouver and supporting UBC, SFU, Capilano University, and UFB. I have PhD in plant science from McGill University and joined MITACS just after my graduation last year. And today I'm going to walk you through the MITACS programs and then the application process. And when I'm presenting, if you come across any question, feel free to stop me and ask your question, or you can write it down and ask at the end. So let's start with a brief introduction of the MITACS. MITACS is a not-for-profit organization that receives the funds from federal and provincial governments. And our job is to bridge the gap between academia and industry. We drive innovation in Canadian ecosystem through partnerships. So the governments, both provincial and federal, gives us money to foster innovation through partnership between academic institutions and the industries, because we believe that without bridging the industries and academic, all the research and the knowledge gonna stay at university. So we want to make the services and products and all the research result from university to an applicable outcome in the society. That's our mission. So to being eligible for a MITACS project, 3 components are essential. As you see on this slide, on one side we have the partner organization, and on the other side we have the prof in academic institution. To be eligible for a MITACS partner, we support for-profit, not-for-profit municipalities and hospitals. So if you are a prof or a student and would like to do a project with not-for-profit municipalities and hospitals, the MITACS can support you. Because I've heard that there are many people at academic institutions just think that the for-profit industries are eligible. No, you might have a project, for instance, with the municipalities. Now I'm working with the project, BSI project, with UFV and municipality, city of Langley. So it's one of their projects. I'm now working on it. And so for the students, we cover all the students from undergrad to PhD and then postdoc. And the MITACS, the students, the Canadian and international students are eligible to be an intern for MITACS project. So the students works as an intern under the supervision of the academic supervisor for an industry project. So the students gonna be on board and take care of the R&D challenges that a company might face. We have different programs at MITACS, but for today, I just tailor it based on the research and the teaching at UF. So 2 flagship programs are Accelerate and BSI, Business Strategy Internship. Accelerate supports research-based project, but BSI supports the project that does not need pure research. They are at the development stage of a project. So for instance, the project needs to do a marketing, needs to improve a software. So this stuff goes to BSI program. So for here, MITACS Accelerate, as I said, supports research-based project, and the academic institution, let's say a prof and intern, needs to be a partner with the organization. It supports undergrad, postdocs, and even recent grads are welcome to be an intern. So, and then it supports all sectors and disciplines. There is no competition. The success rate is around 95%. as long as the application process is done well. So the success rate is high. And the reviewing process will be around 10 to 12 weeks, and we don't have any deadline for application. We are open all around the year. And regarding the funding option, we have three models, 10K, 15K, and 20K. 20K is only for postdocs, and all of this funding option is based on the internship units. If you would like to work with the MITACS project, unit is the word that you're gonna hear it so many times. A unit is a block between 4 to 6 months. That's like a duration of a project. All the funding that you see is based on one unit, and the MITACS projects are flexible. You can have a project with just one unit or extend it to 3 years, 4 years. And no funds required from prof. So all the things that the academic institution needs to do is supervising an intern, and the fund comes from the partner and MITACS. Here in this slide, you see Accelerate Express. This is a new initiative for Accelerate, and all the things for this initiative is similar to regular Accelerate, the previous slide that I explained it. The only difference is that this supports the project which are small, from 1 up to 3 units. So if your project is small, it's better to apply to Accelerate Express. The funding option, all the things, the application process is the same. The only difference is the reviewing time. Because this project is smaller, so max 1 year, the reviewing process is around 6 weeks. That's the only difference. And the funding option, as you see, is the same. You can apply it at any time, and there is no competition. So Accelerate Express is only for project up to 3 units. Here is the, right.
Sorry, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Could I go back to your
sure.
slide on Accelerate, please? So just to clarify, yeah,
okay.
Perfect. So just to clarify, the partner has to give 50% of the funds, and then the funder, MITACS, would give 50% of the funds. So in this case, would you say 10K would be a normal amount that you would get for an undergrad, 15K for a master's / PhD, and then 20K for a postdoc?
Yes, that's a good question. So I'll explain more in detail in the coming slides.
Okay, thank you.
How the funding works, but regarding answering your question is here. 10K and 50K are the option for undergrad, master, and PhD, and also postdocs. Okay. So the postdocs, if the partner doesn't have a secure fund to pay a postdoc 20,000, they can get the 15K. But 20K is the only option for postdoc.
I see.
And the reason is that previously we used to have a program that we called it Elevate.
Yes.
You might hear about it. So Elevate was a program just to hire postdoc. For this fiscal year, effectively 1st of April, Elevate retired, and we moves the Elevates and put it under the Accelerate.
Okay.
So that's the reason you see the funding option 20K is that one is coming from retired Elevate. And so, and this one 20K offers only hiring a postdoc similar to Elevate, but with more simplified process.
Okay.
So that's like one of the good changes that MITACS decided to do.
Sure.
Because previously we had Elevate, and for Elevate documents, the prof and interns needs to give us different support letter, but with Accelerate, the process is more simpler. And that's the reason we have it here. But again, these programs offer the same funding option compared to the Elevate. The funding is same, but the process is simpler.
Okay, thank you so much.
My pleasure, yes.
10, 15, and 20K, that's for research expenses, not salary. Is that what it is, or is it salary? Like, what is it for?
Yeah, so I'll explain it in my funding models, but yeah. So for 10K, all the money must be used as the intern stipend or salary. But 15K and 20K both offers a flex fund, 5,000 flex fund. This flex fund can be used for research expenses like buying a material, equipment, publishing paper, attending a conference, or I see many profs that use 5,000 as a top up to salary. So this flex funds needs to be spent in a way that makes sense for both academic side and the industry side. And MITACS never dictates and puts any rules for spending the flex fund. But 10K doesn't have any flex fund.
It has to go to the students.
Yeah, it has to be paid to a student. But 15K and 20K give some options. So we were here. So BSI, Business Strategy Internship, supports innovative project that not focusing on research. So it's against the students undergrad to postdocs, even recent grads are eligible for BSI and all sectors and disciplines. And the funding option is only 10 and 15K because 20K is for postdoc who gonna do a research, pure research. But BSI is not the research, it's related to the development. And you might have a postdoc for this program, BSI, but the funding option is 15K. 20K is the only option for postdoc doing the research. And there is no competition. The program is open all around the year. And you see the reviewing process is around 6 weeks. For regular Accelerate is between 10 to 12 weeks. The Express is around 40 days and BSI is 6 weeks. You might wonder why the reviewing process is different from Accelerate to BSI. The answer is that MITACS will review BSI application just internally. But Accelerate, we believe that it's research, so it needs that the external reviewer put the comments for the proposal. So MITACS will review the Accelerate project, and also at the same time, we send it to external reviewers to improve the proposal if needed. And because of the external reviewer, it's gonna be kind of delay and the reviewing process longer. But here is under our control at MITACS, and you see the reviewing process is significantly shorter. So I've heard that some profs think that the BSI is a good fit for co-op. The Accelerate, I see that some students do the co-op through Accelerate, but BSI is kind of like a better match for students who are doing like kind of in the arts, in the like English language, marketing, business school. The BSI is a better fit, and but it's not just only applicable for co-op. It's related to all the innovation. For instance, for product innovation, for process innovation, marketing innovation, and organizational innovation. In all of these categories, if a partner wanted to do a kind of project, BSI will be a great match. In this slide, you see some examples of the BSI project. For example, development of new technology or software. Let's say I have a company, I own a company. I already have a software for tracing my client, for collecting the data from my client. But I see a bug in my software and I couldn't fix it through my employees, through the staffs that I have. So I want to develop something in my software. So that's the BSI project. Optimize the process. For instance, a company is now producing something, but they want to optimize the production line. So as you see, there isn't pure research in those part of the project. They want to improve something. They want to develop. So that goes to BSI, develop a strategy like IP communication, marketing, cybersecurity, modernize practices, and market research. All this goes to BSI, and your contact point at here for BSI is Candice Stewart in CE. CE. It's I tried to memorize this short yesterday, but seems it wasn't successful. So how the funding works? You see the funding model for Accelerate and BSI, 10K or 15K, as I said, for undergrad, master, and PhD, and 20K only for postdocs. So the funding works in a way that the partner, which could be for-profit, not-for-profit, municipalities, and hospital, they has to contribute 50% of the award, and MITACS put 50% of the award. So when we receive the application, the finance teams of MITACS send the invoice to the partner, and then the partner needs to pay their contribution plus taxes, and then MITACS puts its own share. And then we release the fund to the university under the name of the prof grants. And then from then the university and the prof needs to administer fund and pay it to the students and use it for research expenses. So for instance, for 5K, the partner needs to put $5,000. For 15K, the company needs to put $7,500. All this funding is based on one block, which is a unit for 4 to 6 months. For instance, let's say you want to do a project for 1 year, and you already match with the company, and you have agreement to move forward with 15K to hire a PhD, let's say for either Accelerate or BSI project. So 1 year will be 3 units if we consider each unit 4 months, and we can multiple 15K to 3 units, gonna be $45,000. $45,000 is the whole award for hiring a PhD for 1 year. Out of this $45,000, the company put $22,500 plus taxes, and MITACS put the rest and makes the award as a $45,000 and send it to UFE. And out of this $45,000, $15,000 can be a flex fund if we consider $5,000 as a flex fund for 1 unit, and here we have 3 units. $15,000 can be used as a flex fund for research expenses or top off to salary. But minimum salary is $30,000, right? Yes.
Thanks, Fatab. I just had a question. So great example about the 22,500 from the company, and then MITACS matches it to make it 45,000, in this case using a PhD student.
Right.
Question, does the match from the company have to be plus GST at 5%?
Right.
So you have to then, so it's 22,500 plus
Taxes.
GST.
Right, plus taxes.
From the company.
Right.
But 22,500 is the actual awarded match. So that's something to bear in mind with our researchers who are applying, who are speaking to the company. You have to add in that 5% taxes, because then there's going to be a deficit, and we're might not be able to make it up.
Right, yeah.
Great,
Good to
thank you. And one more question, how do you determine if it's 4 months for a base intern unit versus 6 months? So the example you gave us, you said 1 year, 3 times 4, great. Does that vary based on the size of the project? Like, does the researcher or faculty member go, oh, like, I feel like I need 2 base intern units. Like, I want to do 2 6-month blocks.
Yeah.
Who determines that? How do you figure that out?
Yeah,
Excuse me.
no worries. So the second example is totally fine. So it's under the control of the supervisor and the industry. So I see lots of projects that considering each unit as a 6 months. So for instance, last week I had a project that the budget is really tight, but the objective of project is kind of they cannot meet the objective in like a year and their budget is limited. I just suggest them you can stretch a unit from 4 to 6 months. If that makes sense for the intern, because the payment of the intern gonna be lower. Instead of 4 months, they need to pay 6 months with the same budget. So they need to stretch it. As long as the intern, the supervisor are happy, both are happy. So that's one of the option. But if the fund is enough, so we usually don't recommend to stretch the unit because the salary of the intern can be lower. So, and with these living expenses, it doesn't make sense that the salary goes down, but it's an option.
Yeah, okay, great. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Yes, please.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can go ahead.
You go.
Doesn't matter.
So UFB, the minimum salary for a postdoc, because they're not unionized, including overheads, because I'm paying this right now, is about $71,000 a year.
Mhm.
So if I have a postdoc that is willing to work for $50,000 a year, I can't, you know, I have to do, those are minimum 71,000 with overheads. So this won't work here because I have to get 35,000 matching, at least 36,000 matching from the company.
Right.
Right, so MITACS can't help with our salary scheme, it seems.
Yes.
Unless it's like a 6-month position, but no postdoc that in science is at least right, they want 2 years, maybe 3 years.
Right.
So I'm just wondering how that will work with us. I can ask those
So
this.
I wanna add one thing. The MITACS award, we don't have any overhead for MITACS award. So that's one thing. So what is the overhead at UFE?
I think he's referring to like benefits and
Yeah,
vacation time and those, because,
That's what.
which is not covered by my tax. So because they're essentially an employee.
Yeah, they're
They
employed.
have to get the, in.
Kind of
those
employee
costs.
deduction.
Like there's about 10%, so 6% and 4% breakdown. Kelly knows better about those breakdowns, but yeah, so that's what.
I think it's 21%.
Yeah.
When all the bits and
Yeah.
pieces are added up.
Everything all
It's
added up.
21% of the salary.
Yeah.
In addition.
Plus 6, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
for postdoc, the salary for postdoc is $60,000.
Yeah.
If we go with 20K and a year is 3 units.
Right.
But the thing is that the partner can contribute more.
Yeah.
So they can contribute $40,000, $50,000, but we cannot leverage beyond $30,000. So,
Right.
so like I had a postdoc that's now receiving $100,000 at University of Victoria, but the matching fund is $60,000, and the rest is a cash contribution from the company. So when the partner wanted to contribute, we send them invoice more than our leverage, they're gonna pay back, and then we make the award, let's say $90,000, $75,000, and then send the money to university. But we just leverage the max $60,000.
Yeah.
But I see what you said, the $60,000 is really minimum for a postdoc and might not meet the minimum of some universities. So in this case, the partner organization can put more as a top up to the MITACS award.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it in lots of postdocs
It
applications.
doesn't have to be 50-50 like it says there.
Until $60,000 is 50-50. The partner put $30,000. MITACS put $30,000. That's for $60,000. But you might have a kind of negotiation with the company and ask them for $50,000. So that makes the award to $80,000
Yeah.
because we match 30-30 and the rest is kind of cash contribution.
Or you might be able to top up. Matab, would it be possible if, like, say, like, I've had other funding, and that funder allowed for him to use it as a top up, you could probably use that 20K if you had other funding. It doesn't necessarily have to come from the company in that case.
For that,
Right.
Most of them have to work on
Yeah,
sites that other funder, the
Yeah.
third funder.
like you have to make sure that you're allocating X percentage to the MITACS.
Right. Yeah.
It's a bit sticky in that regard, but it's an option.
Yeah, that's quite possible. That happens to my PhD
Yeah,
because my prof collected fund from everywhere, from
Yes.
every pot to hire more and more PhD. So some of my funds came from MITACS. Also, I had the ECODA and also I had NSERC.
Yes.
So 3 funder agency paid for my project. So it collected like a small from 3 funder agency.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. Yeah, I know.
5 different funds and try to put bits and pieces together to hire a student or postdoc.
Mhm.
yeah.
And also we have we have a joint call with NSERC. I didn't put it in today's slide, but with the NSERC joint call, you can apply for receiving funds from NSERC through a joint call with MITACS. The NSERC have the 2-to-1 funding policy and MITACS has 1-to-1. So you can make a joint call, apply through the NSERC website and MITACS, both at the same time, and we will review the proposal independently. And then by this joint call, you can increase the fund because the NSERC will make a double of the partner contribution. So that's one of the options. If you would like to learn more about the NSERC, we can chat later.
Hi, Matab.
Hi. Yeah, there was a question at the end. Yeah.
Thank you. About this partner organization, so is the faculty's responsibility to find an organization before submitting the application, or MITACS is helping in finding some partners, so or we have to do it beforehand, talk to them, so.
Yeah, that's a very good question. I have some slides to explain this, but just briefly here. So either options that you mentioned works for us. For instance, you might find a partner through your network, or you already know some companies, you previously worked with them. It's totally fine if you reach us and said that, okay, I want to work with company X. We already negotiated, we already discussed the project. That's one option. You bring the partner, that's totally fine. Then the other thing is that some industries approach to us with their project, with their R&D challenges, but they don't know any academic supervisor, any students. We make their project as an open project, make it public on our website, and then the prof and students can filter the open project. And if you find something interesting, your students can apply for it as like kind of similar to job, something like this. And then we forward the CV and application to the partner, and they're going to review the application. And if they're happy to move forward, then you can be a partner. We're going to have a discussion call, and then you would be a partner to write down the proposal and then go through the application process. So all the options would be fine as long as we have academic partner and the partner organization through either way. is totally fine.
Just to follow up, so these two are fine. What about the third option? Is it possible you have some idea and you help us find some partner? Is it an option too?
Yeah, that's kind of difficult. You know, for instance, for open project, when I see something related to the faculty that I'm supporting, I usually distribute the open project to the supervisor, to the faculty, to the head of the faculty to see, hey, this project comes to my desk. I found as a great match for your faculty. Or maybe I directly approach to you. I know your interest. So I send the open project to you if we have like a kind of communication regarding your interest. That's one thing for open project. But we don't have this like kind of approach to introduce the partner to academic supervisor. So if it goes through open project, that's like a one way that MITACS can work on it to make the partner and academic institution closer and make as a partner. But in just like introducing you a list of companies or introducing some companies, we don't have this approach.
Yes, but we do at USP.
Yes, there you go.
So MITACS is the funder, so Tab and I do work closely together, and she's gonna be giving me some information about partners, but I also have to do some stuff in my position where I work with partners. I'm engaging with partners right now in a couple of different disciplines. I'm trying to lock them down. It's the monetary commitment that can be a little bit of a stickler. So I'm in conversations because I have to build trust. Then once I get that partner, then I'll go and seek out who might be a good fit. But alternatively, you have a project, as you said, rather than me pulling, push on me and say, I have a project, this is what I'm interested in, then I might know or reach out to my own networks. I have networks within other universities as well or in other sectors, or maybe even reach out to MITAB and then try to find a partner that way. So yeah,
That's really
I'm Ash, by the way. I work with your comments, so a lot of you know me, but some of you may not. So yeah.
Yeah. Also, at MITACS project, you can collaborate with other universities.
Yeah.
That's a good point. For instance, you can collaborate, let's say, with UBC, SFU, or any university, public university across Canada. You want to work with the project, for instance, with McGill. So you both come as an academic partner. Maybe the prof at the McGill has like an industry partner. So if you would like to work with the other prof at any universities across Canada, that's one of the way to bring funds, because you can be like kind of the academic institution. So, and also the other thing is that different partners can be in one application, different industry partner. That's one point. So multiple institution, multiple partners to bring more money. For instance, you communicate with one company and say that, okay, we can just give you $15,000, but at the same time, you know, the other company with like the kind of the closer interest, and they can put more money. So it's totally fine to have, let's say, 2 companies, 3 companies, or you can work with the other prof at other universities. So multiple institutions, multiple partners are fine in one application.
Can you have just one, like say if it's you, just one institution applying, can you have multiple partners on one application as well?
Yes.
So any combo is
Yeah.
acceptable? That's
Right.
good to know, as long as the partners are all on board and everybody is okay with it. Because then you would have to sort out how much time the intern would spend at each company and those logistics.
Right,
Right?
yeah.
Okay. But
So-
it's good to know.
Right. All the things needs to be explained in the proposal template.
Yeah.
Now I'm working with the project at UBC, and they have two companies. One of them is a not-for-profit. The other one is another not-for-profit. But they both have a very limited funding. And then I just recommend them to bring an indigenous company. So as a third partner, because we have an initiative for indigenous students or indigenous company. So if the students is indigenous or the partner is indigenous company, so their share gonna be get half. So for instance, let's say you want to hire an indigenous students, then the company needs to put half of this contribution. Let's say for $5,000, the company needs to just put 2,500, or for the other gets 50% discount. So I suggested them because they asked me how we can just do more unit with our limited budget. I said that, okay, you are both not for profit. So if you find an indigenous company that share the same interests, because in the proposal, they need to explain how the partners will get benefit from the project. So that means they must be in the same scope. So they found another fishery communities. So they are non-indigenous, and through adding an indigenous company, they can do more units with the same funding, because the indigenous gonna get 50% discount of the partner contribution. So the partner puts 25%, MITACS puts 75%.
Right.
Instead of 50-50. Yes, go ahead.
So you were discussing about the flex amount that the supervisor can use for attending conferences or like a proper. Can you please discuss more how it works, who decides about?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. So because it's like a shared budget from the partner and the prof, so it makes sense if the prof has like kind of talk with the company before spending the money. So just not in like a very kind of official contract, just let them know we're gonna use this flex fund for these purposes. So as long as the partner and the supervisor and intern are happy for the way that they would like to spend the fund, it's fine. But I usually recommend the prof to let the partner know. For instance, you can just, because when you get partner, you have lots of communication, emailing, all these things. You can just email for instance, the R&D manager or your contact points. And I want to use like this fund for instance, for publishing this paper, because it's that kind of mutual benefit, and the company gonna get benefit if you publish a paper from their project. Or this is students would like to attend the conference, for instance, in this places. So it's like a win-win. Or the project needs this equipment or this software. I have to buy the software for the students, or buying this material. I never say any like a problem or issue for the flex fund, but I recommend to let the partner knows.
Also, at the university, we go by basically triagency eligible expenses.
Right.
So like, you know, you're not gonna be like spending money on alcohol or something. Like
Right,
that.
yeah.
The basic things. I mean, people do. They might go out for, you know, take their team out and go for lunch, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
now there's alcohol on the bill. No. So if you wanna know what those details are, just connect with me. I can give you a list, but yeah,
Right.
that's what MITAC follows the rules for, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just curious, thanks for all the information. In your previous slide, Monica,
Right.
you said, the accelerate also includes international,
Okay,
research.
right.
So, does that mean, well, I'm wondering if the scope can be enlarged to include, universities internationally, say, you have one from UK and one, from Singapore.
Mhm.
And then, partnering organization, say bank, RBC, Canadian. And then the principal investigator, principal researcher is USC. Is that good? So is that possible? And then most funding will be used here in Canada.
Okay, so you mentioned that the international students is here in Canada, right? So then,
We have other investigators, say faculty,
Mhm.
one in UK,
Mhm.
one in Singapore.
Okay, and then one here. Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I actually had the same question, like if partners can be international or are they just restricted to Canadian sectors? And then same with the academic, because we might, obviously, I don't know, because MITACS is provincial and it's Canadian. I don't know what your restrictions are. Like, are we allowed to partner with Europe? Are we allowed to partner with Asia?
Okay.
Things like that.
Yeah, MITACS is a national.
Oh, it's national.
It's national, yeah.
No provincial funding, right?
Yeah, with both funding,
Yeah.
federal and provincial.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, we have different offices across Canada for supporting all the universities, public universities. So for international partner, I've seen different projects that the one partner is in incorporated, like Canadian incorporated, and for instance, one of them was located in Brazil for a filmmaking project. But the thing is that in the proposal, you have to explain clearly what the international companies bring to this project. Will they contribute financially? So how the contribution works in a very clear way. I see some projects, not many, but I see some projects that the partner, one of the partner might be kind of international. So we don't have any issue or conflicts. But for academic supervisor, honestly, I never see, and I've never heard about it. But I have to ask from my colleagues, maybe they already face a project who have different prof on board, like international. So I can ask about it and then let Ash know, or maybe have your email after the meeting and communicate with you. But personally, I've never seen such a project. I have to clarify this.
That Workshop does help so much. So if you showed it to her and asked her proactively, this is my idea, this is what I'm thinking, and it's not something that I know, she will be able to investigate more, just like this question. So rather than writing up the whole proposal and submitting it
Right.
and not knowing, it's better to be proactive and get her to be oh, this is actually the right way. Because as she mentioned, MITACS has such a high success rate, but that's also because they are helping to vet and guide and advise in a way that we don't get from tri-agents.
Right, correct, yeah. So you can reach out to me with just a kind of, with kind of an outline of the project or what you have in your mind. And then I try my best to tailor and just adjust it and makes it in a way that works perfectly to receive the funds. So to just guide you, for instance, through the program, let's say a project that I had that I'm now working with UFV and City of Langley. So it was drafted in Accelerate format. And when I just read the proposal and put the comments, I was thinking, so this project will not do research. Say they just want to collect information from City of Langley and analyze it. So that must go to BSI. So I suggested them that this is not the right program. The right program is BSI. You have to put the proposal template of the BSI and then go with this application process. So if I know your project ahead of time, even if a few lines, or maybe we can have kind of Teams call and you briefly explain the project, I can tailor and find the best way to save the time and
Yes.
energy from both from you and from us.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, so.
Thank you. I just have a question again about the postdoc salary. If the industry partner or however much they contribute, can benefits be charged to the industry partners funding, or is there just no benefits are not eligible at all through a MITACS program, and the benefits part of the salary for the postdoc has to be covered through other funding?
Yeah, that's a good question. So this one varies from each institution. So it depends on the UFV regulation. So some universities, they did for postdoc because they are employee, they are not students. So they are eligible for all the deduction, like all of us that receives the payments. So, and those deduction gonna be go under their salary. Let's say from our side, their award is $60,000, but the postdocs cannot receive $60,000. There is a deduction for taxes, for the EI, all the things. Let's say like us, for instance, we say in a interview, they're gonna tell us, okay, your salary gonna be, for instance, $80,000, but do I receive $80,000? No, all the deduction go through the gross salary.
Yeah.
That makes it the net, and the same goes to MITACS award for postdoc. But for a undergrad, master, and PhD, the story is different.
Yes.
For instance, at McGill, the students, PhD, masters, or undergrad, university pays us as a stipend, and there was no deduction for a stipend.
That's how we do it.
Yeah, so all of my funding just comes to my pocket. So
Yeah.
there was no deduction. But I see some universities that pay their PhD through salary. So when it goes to the salary, again, the deduction, there's deduction.
So that's where, but what I'm wondering is we would have to then come up with it's 27% total, because it's 21% that UFE does a flat rate for benefits to kind of incorporate everything, and then 6% vacation pay. So it's 20.
Do you pay PhD or master through salary? Just postdoc. Yeah, postdoc is the same for everywhere.
Masters and
PhD.
we can pay by stipend.
Yeah, stipend.
Right. Yeah, it's just the postdocs. So
Yeah, just postdoc is the same because they are not students.
They're not
They are
students.
employee, like
That
the
can be
other
charged
employees.
through MITACS funding. We can
Yes.
include- Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that could be maybe part of the top, well, maybe.
Yeah,
No,
maybe.
I don't know. Depends on how much you're paying.
Yeah, so 60,000, you
Yeah,
have
you
the
can give them, yeah.
option to just use that one for deduction or the flex fund or, yeah.
But undergrads, masters, PhD students, if they get the money, they get the full amount into their pocket. They don't get any deductions, so that's good for your students if you're paying them. They
Yeah.
have
Because that goes through a stipend.
Stipend, yeah,
Yes.
it's good to know.
So this MITACS actually is only for all the undergraduate students.
No, undergrads are eligible and even recent graduate. Yes, they have to contribute 50% of the award, the part. Yeah, right?
I think it's key. My student advisors as well, but there is a.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, conflict. No, my tax was.
Yeah, so you said that you are working as a consultant for a company and at the same time you are a faculty or supervisor here. So yeah, I see a significant conflict of interest in your case. So it's not impossible for MITACS project. So if
If you will not use this fund, this will go on.
yeah, I know the fund goes for students, but because the supervisor already has a job or position with the partner organization, or I see sometimes the supervisor owns a company.
Yeah.
For instance, a startup company and would like to hire like a students as an intern for the company. So this is like a clear conflict of interest. And in that case, you need to declare it when you are drafting the application. So ahead of time, let me know. And then I will send the declaration form to the committee members of the MITACS. And then they decide if this is a significant or it's just like a minor conflict. For this case, I see it as like a major conflict. And so you need to move forward, you need to fill out the admin form. Admin form is for the purpose that you introduce us another grant holder. So, for instance, you introduce us your colleague at the university who can administer fund instead of you, and we release the fund, for example, to Prof. Smith instead of you, and then he will administer the fund. That's the
Still, the student can apply, but there are other processes.
right. Yeah.
Not closed.
Yeah, no. It's just totally fine. Just you need to fill out administer form to introduce us another person as a grant holder instead of you. We can move forward with the project. It's totally fine, but you have to let us know another faculty member. But if there is no conflict of interest, so that's fine, just you and your students. But your case has some kind of a unique scenario, but it's just pretty simple. So you need to fill out that form. And before filling the form, you need to communicate to find another faculty members. Yeah.
I have also a question about the partner organization. So these partner organizations should be already registered within the US, or it should be Canadian, international. So what is the eligibility to say this is
Right.
partner organization can be part of this?
Yeah, so the partner we support for-profit, not-for-profit municipalities and hospital. So we don't have a specific list of the a partner. So no, we support all Canadian incorporated companies. So the company must be incorporated and Canadian. But I see some project that the partner is not Canadian. For instance, they are an American company. To move forward with the American company, you have to bring another Canadian company, right? So let's say I have a company in Germany, and they wanted to hire the intern and be a partner with the academic institution, let's say UBC. So just with one partner, the project is not eligible because they are not Canadian, but they might fund another Canadian company incorporated, and they both gonna benefit from the project as long as they bring another company or involve another Canadian company. It's fine to move with the international companies, but solely they are not eligible because they are not Canadian. We got the fund from the governments of Canada, from provincial governments to help the economy of Canada. There is no point that we support the American companies. So maybe if there is a Canadian company in it. So that's the scenario for international companies.
But again, if there's a question mark, they should come to you and say, look, this is what I'm planning on doing, and then get
Right.
some advice, yes.
Right. So, yeah. And so the MITACS projects are flexible and scalable. So a project can be small, 4 months or 6 months, or it can be longer. It can be up to 3 years, 4 years, and you can extend it. You can hire different intern at the same time, or just work with one intern for 3 years, 2 years. So either option would be fine. And previously we had unit limitation, but for this fiscal year, the MITACS removed unit limitation for students. So as long as the students has the full-time status at the university, they can do MITACS project. Previously, we had limitation for units, but since 1st of April, we have removed the limitation, but still we keep limitation for 2 categories. One is the postdoc because they are not students. So the max unit for postdocs is 3 years, or let's say 9 units if we consider each unit 4 months. And also the recent graduate, they are not students anymore. So the max unit for them is up to 1 year. And also for recent graduate, they must be graduated less than 2 years. So for instance, master students who graduated in 2021 is no longer eligible. So the graduation date from the start date of the project must be within 2 years. And they are eligible to be intern up to 1 year. So 2 units each 6 months or 3 units each 4 months. And the postdoc has 3 years limitation, but undergrad, master, and PhD, no limitation as long as they are students. And also, a good thing I forgot to mention, you can have TBD trainees on your application. I see lots of projects that the intern is TBD. So you got partnered with the company, and then you apply through the MITACS, you receive the outcome letter. But before receiving the outcome letter at that stage, you have to identify your intern. So that gives you a timeline for the prof who already had hired a student. So TBD is good option. You can just go ahead of time instead of just wait, find the students, and then apply through MITACS. You can go with the application, keep the intern as a TBD, but before releasing the fund, you have to identify the name of the TBD intern. Yes, please.
I understand as their box is stated, which is great. I understand TB for trainees. The piece that I'm a little bit confused about is the blocks occur concurrently or sequentially. These concurrent blocks will be funding blocks, right?
Yeah, so I mean that you can have different interns at the same time. Multiple interns at the same time. So for instance, a big project might have 3 PhD at the same time working on the project, or maybe one PhD works for 3 years, works for 5 years instead of multiple interns. That relates to this. Yes.
Are we allowed to have multiple, as a researcher allowed to have multiple MITACs running concurrently, like multiple accelerates? So like, you know, you have a project, you're doing it with one partner, and then, you know, a couple months later, you're like, oh, I've got this other partner, I want to do it with them. And now you've essentially got 2 accelerates. Is there any restriction? Because the projects might be very different, so you can't really combine them. I don't know, I'm just thinking.
Yeah, so there was lots of discussion about this. And so for interns, I'll get back to your question. For interns, they cannot be on the different MITACS project at the same times.
Yeah.
Because I see that some interns apply for one project, they got approved, they can apply for the other. No, the intern must be in one project at the same time. So once they are done with project A, they can apply for the other project. You cannot hold the intern for 2 projects, 3 projects. That's one thing. But get back to your hard question. No worries. Yeah, so from my side, I didn't see this, but I'm pretty sure that my friend at SFU had
Yeah.
this like a kind of challenge. And so the team leads asked him or referred her to the committee members. And I didn't just follow up what was their answer. So, but I have to ask Anika and get back to you
Sure.
if a prof wanted to apply for different MITACS project at the same time. Yeah, I need to clarify.
I think personally, it might be a lot of work on the researchers' end, but it's just definitely an option because you never know. Sometimes a company might come after you're in the project 2 months, or a partner might come and then you don't want to miss that opportunity. So
Yeah,
that's what I'm not saying like this has occurred here, but it's just something I might see down the road or whatever. So
yeah, I understand. So I have to ask for about.
I haven't seen it myself personally either, but
But who knows?
yeah, who knows?
Maybe it
Yeah,
happens.
maybe we'll just get like tons of partners, and be like,
Right. So
That would
I
be
need to clarify this.
okay, thanks so
Yeah.
much.
Yes, please.
If a student is on a MITACS internship, are they prohibited from working on other projects with other funding?
Not other fundings. I just mentioned MITACS. And then also, so for intern eligibility, it's good to know that the intern cannot be employee of the company at the same time. So the intern must have just like one status with the company, like as an intern, not as an employee and intern. That's not possible. And then also, if the intern worked with the company previously, before starting the MITACS project, there might be conflict of interest. They need to let us know because we need the CV of intern. We will review the CV of intern. So if we see conflict of interest, we will give the intern a conflict of interest form. And they need to explain what was the role and what was the responsibility of the role to find out if the previous work related to what he wants or she wants to do. So the MITACS Conflict of Interest Committee will make a decision to how to move forward with, but we have to do the COI ahead of time. If the students work previously with the company. And at the same time, it's not possible. That's one thing I just remembered to mention, but the students can be intern for MITACS and also for other funder agency. It's totally fine. And so how the collaboration works. So in like a discussion call, I always mention to partner that the intern or students is not a full-time employee. Don't expect the intern that works or comes to your office like a regular employee, 9 or 8 a.m. and works for you 40 hours, 35 hours. No, they are not full-time employee. The intern must split their time between academic institution and the partner organization, because most of the time the interns has class, lecture, or lab works at the academic. So they need to take care of their academic jobs and divide the time for their academic jobs and then partner jobs. That's the things we always mention to the partner. And we never control the hours. So we never count the hours and say that, okay, for this project, you have to work with the partner 20 hours, 25 hours. No, we don't have those kind of regulation. As long as the objective of the projects are met during the timeline and the supervisor, intern and the partners are happy. So we never consider. So maybe the intern can get the job done by working 10 hours per week, or maybe like a 5 hours per week or 25 hours per week. So that's all backs to the partners. But for co-op purposes, so if an intern would like to work with the MITACS project to fulfill the co-op requirements, I think, as far as I know, there is like hours for co-op purposes that the students must fill. For instance, at UBC, the co-op students must fulfill 400 hours to get the credit of the co-op course. So we always mention to the co-op students to talk with the partner ahead of time, because at the end they need to approve the fulfillment of the hours. They need to discuss and say that, okay, I have to do 400 hours during 6 months or during 4 months, and they have to manage it on their own way. MITACS never involves in those kind of things, but I see lots of co-op students choose MITACS as like an opportunity. Then also another difference for co-op is that they have to find an academic supervisor. So if the students just get the co-op position or things with the company there, so they work there, they don't need to be in application process, no academic supervisor is needed. But if they want to do a co-op through MITACS project, they have to find an academic supervisor. But it is really worse, because at the end they're gonna have they are involved in a like kind of high profile project, innovation project. And I see lots of co-op students that get hired after graduation because they get along with the company. And so if they are like good at their job, that brings them the opportunity for the career, which is really important for this time of the this time that we live. So everyone looks for the job, especially graduates, fresh graduates. Yes, please.
I understand that co-op is academic credit, or the academic credit for co-op can be used towards program completion. Are there any rules or considerations around students getting academic credit towards program completion in something other than co-op? A project-based course or some other course that we can get credit towards program completion, but it's also an internship part-time work for my time.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if I understand your question correctly. So can you please repeat it again?
So I work in the School of Business. And
Right.
multiple courses at the 300 or 400 level that we consider special topics or unique. One of them is project-based course.
Right.
And is open-ended and of course outline what that project is and the purpose of it. But it is recognized as 6 credits, for example, because other 300 level courses like 3 credits. And faculty figure could be the supervisor of that course.
Right.
And maybe they're in the MITACS, maybe they're not, I don't know, but it's the credit towards program completion. Could the student be hired as a MITAC intern? Do that work, be supervised on that level, but then also receive credit and academic credit for that work towards program completion.
Right. So that's a good question. So for academic credit, so you mean that the supervisor get students get the academic credit, or?
Yes, the students get the academic credit, they're undergraduate students doing their bachelor's.
Right, so.
Be approved to register in the course, they would have a faculty supervisor at the course level.
Mhm.
But they're a MITAC intern doing work projects, maybe in business, maybe out. I was just wondering. If
Yeah, so I believe that's mainly related to academic regulation. So I cannot advise on it. So I cannot say yes or no. Honestly, it's really new to me. And I believe it's all related to academic institution rules, because it just like about the credits, and we never involve in these things. Even for the co-op purpose, we pass all the things to the intern and supervisor to manage, and even for the hours. And for credit, getting the credit from academic universities all relate to the schools and the faculties. But also, I just want to mention one thing. The supervisor, the students, like the intern for co-op purposes, they can be in one faculty and find the academic supervisor in another faculty. It's like kind of the things that, for instance, now I'm having a different intern from different interns for co-op from the UBC Arts, but one of them found the faculty advisor at computer science. I don't know how she found the prof at computer science, but it is what it is, because mostly for like a small project, the work of the supervisor is just like kind of the title on the project and also administering funds. So it's like called the supervisor, but it's totally different from the research-based project when the supervisor needs to put the knowledge and skills. So it's totally fine that the intern finds the academic supervisor from the other faculties. That's a one option for co-op that I see it a lot. Yes, please.
Two things. First is the comment on what you said. I've done this a lot. So not through MITACS, but lots of other funding agencies. They've got funding to do a research project. I hire an undergraduate student to help me work on it. And they complete, if they're interested in directed studies course, I give them credit for the research, the assistance they're doing with them. Right? So that's, it's up to what you have in your faculty. If you have courses like that, and geoscience, we have all these courses like that. There's one that, especially for working in my lab, that they can get 4 credits for. But it doesn't say what the research has to be. I pay all my assistants, so it's usually coming from one of the pots. So
That's what I'm thinking. Well, we get the funding and we get the credit,
so-
no issues.
And we
Yeah.
have funding in our office for that too. Wonderful, yeah.
So, yeah,
Up to
anything, almost anything's possible.
Yeah, so basically, yeah, if you want to talk,
I would love to.
but it's got to be research.
Yes, I
For ourselves.
The other thing related to that,
Right.
so I'm trying to start a relationship with a partner organization. It's an environmental consulting company in Vancouver. And one of the middle managers was a former student of mine here, and then he went to the master's with me through SFU.
Right.
So he really likes you, obviously, because this is where he started. And I email you back and forth, then I send links to your website. He's never heard of MITACS, right? But after back and forth, a while, he asked me, okay, I have to bring this to the senior managers, and what's in it for them? It's gonna cost us $30,000 to partner with this. And threw that number out, and he goes, well, what do I tell them? What are they getting out of this? So they do things like, well, they do a lot of things, but one of the main things they do is mineral exploration. So provincial government basically hires these, so government do the main work. So they get a lot of money from provincial government to do this sort of stuff, and we're working on. And we've had Spencer grant money to start looking for economic minerals using innovative ways and stuff. So that's what I'm trying. They do that, but not the way we do it. We think we're going to build on something better. But they go, okay, well, how's this going to benefit us? Is it, if your postdoc makes some discovery and during this partnership, is that yours? Right? Is that ours? Is it, there's all this comes up. He's making it, I don't know how to answer these questions.
Yeah.
She's gonna talk a
well,
little bit.
Yeah, the IP, yeah.
Okay,
You are mentioning the IP, intellectual property. So who gonna own the product or service at the end?
That's all this kind of stuff. So he'll be interested in partnering, but right now it's like an expense. This is a lot of money for us.
So what's the buy-in? How do we get the buy-in? So
Well-
Tab probably has seen how, what's the value proposition when you go to a company and say, oh, I want to do a MITACS, invest in me, 30K, whatever. I have a couple of ideas,
Yeah.
but I'm sure she has
Yeah.
more ideas what we would say to get that buy-in.
Right, yeah. So first of all, for IP, so who gonna own the product or service at the end? So at MITACS, we never involve in IP agreements. So we don't have any rules for it, and we leave it all the things to both partners. So they have to negotiate and make an agreement ahead of time. For instance, here, the ASH at the research offices will help on the IP things. And each university has its own IP agreements. Some universities are really, really cautious and restrictive. For instance, at UBC, they are really cautious. They are really want to keep the IP for many of things. And at the proposal, at our template, or I see, not proposal, in participant information, we have a question that who will take care of the IP of this project? So then there is the industry or is the partner gets the IP, yes or no? So you have to mark it. That means you have to discuss it ahead of time. For instance, for UBC, if the industry put the yes, mark yes, that means they're gonna own the IP of the project. The UBC Office of Research Services, they never sign the application. They reject the application because Office of Research Services at all universities needs to sign the application as the last stage before submission. When all the application package is complete, the last steps is the ORS needs to sign it. So, and their job is just to check a few things. And one of them is the IP. So for UBC, if they say, yes, Mark, they're gonna get back the application to us and ask, so the company should put it no, or just we don't sign it. But they have agreement with some big accounts. So that means they already made an agreement. For instance, they have like a special agreement for with MasterCards. But I see just with very, very big accounts. So that means the lawyer of the company already made a negotiation with UBC to take care of the IP. But this is only the case for a very few big accounts. I don't see it like for the regular companies, like a smaller, medium-sized one.
So I can just speak to that.
Right, yeah.
Because Matap gave some good examples. So at UFB, the intellectual property, the IP is owned by our faculty member, 100%. Now, I do not recommend that you go to a company and have a discussion regarding IP without involving myself. Because I have seen it in the past, I've seen it here at UFB, and I used to work at SFU. There becomes problems if you don't discuss and aren't transparent with your company about what the expectations are. Now, IP can be transferred completely over to your partner at 100%, your discretion. You can do 50-50, or you can keep the IP. It's a discussion, it's an understanding. And then what does that mean in terms of your publication rights, your academic freedom? There are some things that a lot of our researchers don't fully understand when they're speaking to a partner. So one of the things that we're working on right now in my office, which I'm working on with our legal counsel here at UFB, is a pre-award intellectual property agreement. That is a template. It's not, I haven't done it yet. I'm in the process of too many things going on, but in the process of working on it so that, you know, when you have a MITACS, so you do an NSERC alliance or a partnership, or NSERC alliance MITACS, which is what Matap was referring to earlier. Any sort of partner agreement, then you can kind of plug and play with the company, and then that is foolproof. It's not just an email, it's not a verbal agreement, this is a proper pre-award working agreement. Now we know the expectations, we even know the expectations of your students, because your students might have IP coming out of the project. This gets very messy, right? And the expectation of like the hours that the student's gonna be working on the project. With MITACS doesn't have a say in, right? They don't mind as long as the objectives are fulfilled. So just have that conversation with me before, because MITACS doesn't have a position on IP. And then just going back to conflict of interest, which someone else brought up. Yeah, MITACS is a process, we have a process too. Conflict of interest can be managed. It's not an issue. It's not going to be like, oh my gosh, it's a no. I've even seen someone who's a professor here that hired their son as a student. It is as the intern in the MITACS project. Everything can be mitigated as long as you, upfront about it, like not expose that you declare it.
Declare it.
You declare it. So you're a board on the company, you have your shares in the company, you want to hire your family member. There's so many different instances of a
Right.
conflict of interest, right? Which we have a form for, which I developed a form for, and, you know, we can talk about it, you can fill out our form, because we have a form that's different from MITACS. But if you don't tell us, then it becomes a problem, right? And of course, MITACS needs to know it. So just those two things, please come to the research office and discuss in advance.
Right,
Thank
yes,
you.
go ahead. Thank you.
As in School of Computing, we don't have masters and PhD program.
Right,
So can we hire like master and PhDs from another institution or no? What's the policy for that?
yeah, you can have the intern from other universities. It's totally fine. But the students needs, I think, to have an academic supervisor at the like a host institution. But it's not the big deal to find an academic supervisor over there. But I believe if the student is a PhD, he or she must have a supervisor over there. So it's possible.
What if a faculty member here has adjunct status, say at SFU or UBC? Would they still need to have the academic supervisor?
No, that's fine.
That's fine if they have adjunct status?
Yes, yeah,
We can run the funds through
Right.
UBC to pay them over there.
right,
The
yeah.
key is trying to get an academic adjunct status. The other universities where they have other
Right, that's fine.
masters and PhD students.
Yeah, so oh,
We already went.
yeah. We are ahead.
Yeah.
So for this slide talks about the IP, we already discussed it. And so for the IP, you need to reach out the ASH. And for conflict of interest, so it can happen in different ways, like as I said. And so for the intern, we check the intern eligibility with the program. And also for supervisor, if we see the conflict of interest, if MITACS decided and said the conflict of interest is significant, so it could be mitigated through the admin form. And also UFB has its own conflict of interest. So in this slide, you see the process of applying for MITACS funding. The initial stage is matchmaking stage. So that means the partner, the partner organization, academic supervisor, and intern needs to be matched and agrees to move forward with the MITACS application. Then you have to give us the application package. So you see in this slide the application package online, but it's not always the case for all programs because our portal wrap for now cannot implement all types of the programs. For instance, for indigenous pathway, you still need to email me the application package and I'll email our finance. You cannot directly apply to the online portal. But for Accelerate is fine. And also MITACS will launch MITACS Plus platform very soon. So we expect that this MITACS Plus gives the clients to apply for all the application through online process. And also when I have the proposal, let's say me as an advisor, when I have the proposal, I review the proposal and put my comments and ask for the revision if needed. But all I always put is just like a kind of checking about the outline and also the program. We never put technical comments because we believe that it's like the job for the research team and also the external reviewer. But in terms of if the proposal is good enough for submission, if the methodology is enough, if you put the right things, all these things, we check it. And before application, and once all the parts of the package is ready, UFB must sign the application. With the current application process, either online or email, the supervisor needs to send the ORS office, send the application package to ORS office, and then they will review the application and sign it. But when we have the MITACS Plus, that gives option for ORS office to get access to the application online. So
Okay.
then the supervisor doesn't need to email the ORS office the application package. You're gonna be added to the application directly. So, but now, for now, is like kind of the old fashioned. The supervisor needs to, for instance, for online format, the supervisor needs to download the application package, send to ORS. For email format, the prof already has the approved application package and they send it to ORS, got the signature, and then apply it or submit the application. So after submitting the application, MITACS start the reviewing process behind the scene, and the reviewing, it depends on the program and the size of the project. For Accelerate, I said 10 to 12 weeks. For the Accelerate Express, like a small project, is around 40 days. And for BSI is kind of 6 weeks if we don't have backlog. So sometimes when we get close to the fiscal year, so the companies want to use the money, the remaining money. So we might have backlog. Also in December, we might have some backlog and maybe have 1 or 2 weeks delay. And then, so for the Accelerate project, when we send the proposal to the external reviewer, they get back to us with their feedback. So they might need revision in the proposal. So if they ask for revision, they send us the revision request and we communicate with the supervisor, all the participants, supervisor, intern, and the industry, to say that this is the revision request from reviewer. So you have the time, I believe around 6 weeks, if I'm not wrong, to revise the proposal and get it back to us. But if there is no revision request, we move forward with the application process. And then once the award letter is issued, we get back to the participant and ask for the start date. So in the application process, you might put some starting date you have to fill out, but that is not like a kind of, is a kind of estimation. And so when award letter is issued, we ask for the preferred starting date. And for MITACS project, you can immediately start the project or you can hold the project and start it later. And so this slide is just like kind of examples of completed projects. So at MITACS, we have over 13,000 completed projects. So I just put some examples related to different disciplines: mathematics, healthcare, chemistry, that goes to the science. And for instance, for second one, you see the partner, Canadian Police Association, which is a not-for-profit. So they did the project to study work, family life of police officers and their family during and after a pandemic. That was just like a kind of cool project. They did it with the Carleton University to accelerate, and they hired intern from healthcare major. And the first one is about the project development of data analysis with the University of Calgary students at mathematics department. And the last one is about collaboration between SFU and Metabolic Insight Incorporation related to chemistry project. So we already explained about it. How do I find a partner? So I always recommend to students and prof to check out the open project page. So if you just simply Google MITACS open project, you will go to our list of open project. So you need to filter based on your discipline. And I always recommend not to limit your filter to just BC. For instance, if you are located in BC, don't filter BC project, because there might be some project in other provinces that you can work with them remotely or hybrid. So I have lots of projects that the partner is in Ontario, but the intern is at the UBC. But if you just filter and limit your research just to BC, you might not see lots of projects. So just filter based on your discipline and just explore all the project. And then if you find it as a cool and interesting project, the students can apply for it. If in the open project, sometimes the company mentioned they are fine with the remote working or hybrid working. If they don't mention, we can ask the company that the intern, for instance, from students from UFE is interested in working with you. Does that make sense? And so if they say, we can have an exploratory call. Then the other way to find kind of like the name of the partner or look for the kind of potential partner is just search or browsing in the past project. So all the project that MITACS completed so far, we put it in our like a public page as a completed project. So for instance, this is like a show of our completed project. And for instance, I put the filter and found this project. And then I find this one as a really interesting, which is really close to, for instance, my area of research. If you just click on it, you're gonna see lots of information. And the important one that if you would like to find kind of partner, potential partner, you see the name of the partner. All we have at MITACS is kind of public. So you see the name of the partner, the discipline, the university, even you see the name of the students.
Yeah.
So there is no confidentiality in all these things. And so you see the name of the partner, and I'm assuming me as a like students who wants to yes.
Sorry, because this is my question about the start teaching size. So sometimes students they don't have the group, especially when they talk about undergrad. They are not mature enough out of the
Right. So
some do you see that suppose that I open the website, like you see like open positions.
right.
So you see that the approach that's staying to using who you are, and then after you have some chatting, then I will ask, okay, my student now will apply. Or maybe the partner will apply this approach, which the both start communication for the students. So,
Yeah, that's a good question. So if you want to go through the open project, so all the things that the students needs to done is to answer a few questions, like what is your what is your level of study? For instance, undergrad, what university, UFE, what major, like kind of very simple question, basic question. And then also they need to upload their CV. So that's all we need. So when we receive the CV, we forward it to the company. And if the company say yes, we make exploratory call. And in some call, I always invite the prof, because the students must have a prof, either undergrad or graduate. So I ask the prof to come to the Teams call. So if you think that the undergrad is not mature enough to just run the exploratory call by himself, so the prof can talk about it. Maybe the undergrad doesn't have any idea about the research project, but the prof said that I don't see that you can finish this project in 6 months. You have to extend the project to 1 year. So, all these things can be added to the project from supervisor.
Yeah.
So if they are happy to collaborate with each other, then they can sit together and work on drafting a proposal if the company doesn't have the draft of proposal or if the prof wanted to improve it. That's the one thing for open project. I believe is not like a big job from students to do it. Just like answering few questions and upload the CV. That's one thing. And also, if the students find a partner or the prof find a partner, they can approach or outreach the company. For instance, I write a kind of sample email on behalf of a graduate students at SFU. They find the company as the closest one to what he or she is doing at SFU, and they outreach to the company and say that I've heard about your completed project with MITACS. Do you think that there is any coming opportunity that I can work on it? So just like kind of simple outreach to the company if they find the name of the partner on the list of completed project. So that's one thing. And also the other things that we always recommend so to students and of course prof to attend the events, industry-specific seminar, subject matter conferences, career fair, roundtable, and community events on the topic related to your interest. All of these events might bring opportunity to speak up with the company. So they might have R&D challenges, but they don't know how to just get benefit from the funder agency. But you know the things about the MITACS. You know that if they apply through the MITACS, it's gonna save them 50% of project expenses, which is kind of reasonable saving. So for instance, if a company wants to hire a master or PhD, instead of paying them $45,000, $60,000, they just need to pay $30,000.
Yeah.
And the intern depends on the skills that they need. The intern can get the job done. So sometimes the company might think that the intern is the students who comes to the like a work and don't know what to do. And they need to train them, guide them to all these things. No, it depends on the size of the project and type of the project. If a company needs like professional skills and knowledge, so they can hire a postdoc, and postdoc is not kind of the intern. The name through MITACS project is intern, but they already did the PhD research. They are really knowledgeable, and they can have them on board just by paying $30,000. $30,000 is just like kind of less than minimum for general works. So, but they can have a professional person on board and to figure out their R&D challenges or bring up new opportunity. Because sometimes the company might not have a challenge or problem to figure out, but through MITACS project, they can bring opportunity. For instance, they can add something to their company or add a product or services to their company if they don't want, if they already doesn't have any problem to figure out.
So Mitab, for the networking events, if our faculty members and students got on your email list, they'll be able to get information about these types of things that MITACS hosts, or?
Yeah, so for MITACS, we always attend all the networking events. We always invite.
Yeah.
So, and we don't have like kind of, what can I say, the flyer or something that can distribute it to the, like a faculty or students to attend it. So we always invite, and so we cannot just ask the others because, we don't host the events by ourselves.
Right.
We invite to the events like the other participants.
Okay.
But all I just recommend is just searching for any events that seems cool and close to your interest. For instance, for my area of study is plant science, and so I'm taking care of like a kind of scientific project. So I always Google the scientific project because like the engineering goes to my other colleagues. So I always look for any scientific opportunity to get familiar with different partners, and also maybe I had the chance to see different faculties at different events. So all I do is always searching for attending the networking events, and for academic events, I always invite.
Okay, and if we know of anything, we'll put it in our research newsletter that we push out.
Right.
Can you meet with companies like this company I'm talking to that doesn't know what MITACS is, and I'm trying to explain, and I send them links to your website, and go, we're very busy, you can't read this. Like,
Yeah.
Can I say to have a Zoom meeting?
Yeah, of course,
with
yeah.
all of us? And the other thing is, the money they provide, is it tax deductible for them?
Yes, they can,
An incentive.
right, that would be incentive because they want to do a kind of R&D project. So, and also I'd be happy to schedule a Teams or Zoom call to have all the participants and explain the MITACS. Because unfortunately our websites is now, thankfully it's getting better, but it was much more confusing before. And I got lots of complaints from the participants and clients. It's really clear to us because we know everything, but kind of confusing to the person who is just browsing for the first time.
Yeah.
But I'd be happy to be in a call to walk them through the process.
I need to on board, because
Yeah.
my former students there, they do cool work. They're environmental scientists, biologists, geologists, that kind of stuff. And they do cool work, and you just make that connection, but they're always so busy, like, we're too busy, you know?
Right.
What's it in for us? Well, these questions get thrown at us.
Yeah. Please reach out to me and I'd be happy to be in the call with them. And that's the last slide. So help with your outreach strategy. Talk to people, try different stuff. That's that might work. And so our special thanks to funding partners, and thank you all for listening to us.
That's great. Thank you. It's so informative. Thank you so much for your presentation.
Yeah, of
Answering
course.
all of our questions.
Of course. I got two unanswered questions in my mind. I have to clarify. One is having different supervisor, like international supervisor, and then the other one, but if a different prof wanted to apply for different MITACS project at the same time. Yeah, I keep it in my mind.
Or can we do like one accelerate, one BSI?
Yeah.
Right? Or two.
Any programs.
Yeah.
But at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd ask about it.
I read about the previous question, we don't really have the proposal.
Mhm.
So that's great, and I wonder if, it would be convenient if I send it to you to go through.
Yeah, for sure.
your list.
Yeah, for sure. My email address is here. And also you can ask Ash about my email address. She has my contact.
Yes, I have my contact info. So the way it works, it's a little bit different than normal research proposals. Normally they just come to me. In this case, I ask that you send it to Matab first, let me know. And then she's gonna take a look at it, and then she's gonna send it to me for a review. And then either myself or Gary will sign off when we do the submission, because she's gonna check on her end, but then I'm gonna check about conflict of interest, intellectual property, like, does this timeline make sense? Like, I'm gonna ask some questions about your proposal and maybe do a little bit more facilitation side of things.
Right.
So, yeah, sounds good, yeah. So, yes, please.
Stay in touch.
Yes.
Getting copies of the slides set.
Jess, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah,
And this session has been recorded, I believe.
I believe so.
Yes, so we'll have this, we'll figure it out where to post it, and then we'll probably put it in our research newsletter, so that people can access this recording. And then, yes, if you need to connect with me and Ash Lalani in the research office, and yeah.
Yeah, so
So you also have a research internship program. So do we need an industrial partner in that one?
you mentioned BSI, Business Strategic Internship.
It's a global link research
Oh, global
internship
link.
package.
Oh, yeah, so you are talking about GRI.
Yeah.
So the GRI call is now open. So, and the deadline is until June. Yeah. And so for the global link, no partner is needed because it's just for the supervisor and students to exchange the students. And for GRI, you have to submit the application by June. As you said, 5th of June. I have lots of data on my mind and I cannot recall correctly. So, and then the MITACS review the application from Prof. And then sometime in this summer, if I remember correctly, the international from eligible universities can apply for the open projects at the MITACS, and then in the fall we're gonna have matchmaking this stage. The prof will have access to the pool of talents that applied, and then you can make a decision what students is the best candidate for doing an internship for your project in the summer. And then in the winter, we will do a pre-departure process, and by the summer, the cohort will come to Canada to do a 12 weeks internship on your project, and the MITACS will pay accommodation, flight, and expenses during the internship period. That's the GRI, and no partner is needed for this one.
Because it's an exchange.
Yeah, it's not just
So
an
if you
exchange.
wanted to recruit talent from another country and bring them here.
Right.
And can we also send people out to other countries as well, or is it just bringing them in?
For
GRI,
no, GRI is just
bringing in, okay.
Yeah.
MITACS has a lot more other programs that weren't discussed today. These are the main ones, right?
Yeah, the main
MITACS?
ones.